a lot of women are saying, do we even want children? Is more of the argument, not whether they could have children or not. So I think women understand that as they age, yes, the percentage of them having a children is less likely, but I do believe that they think that it has to be an ideal situation before they even decide to have a child for many women, and I'd say more successful women for sure. If we're talking about a woman that's not successful, she might not have those same principles or strictness in terms of having a kid. But I think women that are more established in life, that have things going for them, they will make a conscious decision on whether they want a kid after a certain point in life. So I do believe that women might be open to having children when they're younger, and then by a certain age, they kind of cut off that hope because they know, one, it's going to be harder to have children. Two, they might not feel the same way about having children because, like you said, they could have a niece or a nephew that they part-time, have sleepovers with, and maybe they don't like dealing with the children, or they wouldn't want to deal with the child full-time. Maybe they prefer to just deal with the child part-time and pop in for holidays and see the progression as they go on in life without any major responsibility, right? So what some women that I've spoke to have told me is that, a lot of women now aren't so gung-ho about having children. So they're okay with maybe being a stepmother, dealing with a guy that has a child already, or, even adoption. These are options that, women are choosing nowadays. So I think that when we talk about relationships and we talk about women getting older, not being able to have kids, now they have different options, and I believe that the women are fine with those options. So regardless if you want to shame them or tell them that you're getting old and what are you going to do, I think a lot of women are accepting the fact that they're not going to have children and they prefer not to have children. So it's not knock against them. It's like something that they have chosen consciously, but whether that's a problem or not within society is yet to be determined, because this would be a different type of a way of maybe constructing relationships.
Yes, I don't think it will be a problem necessarily in the West, and the reason why I say that is because in order for the population to replenish, the government still brings in more immigrants.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So even though there's women that have that mind state of not wanting to have children, that's fine. We're just going to, allow certain level of immigration to occur in the country so that the women that choose not to have children, or the men that choose not to have children with these women, they're going to be pretty much not necessarily pushed to the side, but be really irrelevant to the grand scheme of things, because with the new immigration and the new migrants that come in there that have a different mentality in terms of the family dynamic and the family structure, they'll be able to have multiple kids or come with a certain amount of kids, and then they will basically replenish the society as a whole, whereas it will allow women and men that choose not to have children to be able to do that and not really have any penalties with that.
Yeah, that's true. They're definitely pushing immigration sometimes for those reasons. So people are a little bit more traditional, so they can have children, have a functional family, et cetera, et cetera. But what's your thoughts on men that don't want to have children this day and age? Because that same sentiment that I'm saying I'm hearing from women, I'm still hearing the same thing from men. Men don't necessarily want to have children, especially not at a young age. You're talking about, like, men obviously have a longer period of time to make this decision in terms of being a father, because let's face the facts, they can have a child at age 50, right? So they can take a lot longer to make this decision. But what's your thoughts on, men that don't want to take the burden of a child, having to pay for that child for 18 years, having to foster them, grow them up to become a man or become a woman in this life? What do you think of those type of men that rather live like a bachelor lifestyle, maybe just have girlfriends here and there? What's your thoughts on that type of person?
I think when it comes to men and them not wanting to have a child, there's multiple reasons for why men don't want to have, why men don't want to necessarily have a child, and that's because sometimes they're incapable
Yeah.
of providing for that child, and also they're looking at their current circumstances in terms of their finance, where they are economically in the world, where their social status is. Men have to think about that a lot more because they have to be the head of the household. So there's a lot more things to factor in before you decide to have a child. And sometimes when men don't have certain things in place and they don't even know where their life is heading towards, it doesn't make sense to add to that situation, because now knowing that you have a child in this world and you have to provide for that child and you don't have the finances to take care of that child and put them in the right institutions for them to have a great education, what's the point of having the child? If you're gonna have a child and you're just gonna throw him in the hood and he's just gonna be another statistic, he's gonna end up in the prison system, or becoming a menace in society. What was the point of having the child to begin with? So I think sometimes you need to factor those things into place before you even think of having a child. And then there's other guys that are incapable of having women in general. They're just not. They don't have the physical.
That's a good one. That's a good one that no one is gonna talk about.
People don't talk about.
Some people are incapable.
Yeah, some people are just
yeah.
incapable of getting a woman in general. It doesn't mean that they don't want children. They're just incapable because of their lifestyle in terms of their health. Maybe they're physically unattractive, or maybe their appearance wise, they don't take care of themselves in terms of facially unattractive. They mentally unattractive in the sense that they still never grew up. They're still very immature. They've been babied as a child and all the way to adulthood. They never really got to that level of maturity that's necessary to even have an actual relationship. And then lack of being a provider, a lot of women won't even date these guys because they just cannot not only take care of themselves, they couldn't take care of them. So if you couldn't do either or, what's the point of even being with you? So those guys are automatically out of the running. And then the guys that are capable are looking at, do I want the stress in my life? If I'm already out here traveling, I'm able to meet all these different women from different walks of life, and I'm doing my thing, do I necessarily want to just settle down, or could that be something I could postpone till an older age and then just decide to have a child when I'm more closer to death?
Well, yeah, that's interesting. No, I guess everyone grew up differently. Everyone has different things they want in their life. I just find it interesting where, some people view that as the end all be all, and other people view that as optional, and some people view it as a non-negotiable, and whatever comes with that. But I do think that the opinion on whether right or the left side of that equation, I think that's an important thing though that people do have to consider, because again, it is something important to a lot of people, especially if they want to start a family and they want a woman capable of providing that for them, or a man that's willing to want to be there for the children as well. So that's always going to be something that you're going to get both sides of the equation, where people want kids, people don't want kids, and things that have to be involved with that.